welcome. You're tuned to The Leg Up, your weekly thoroughbred preview show, Trackside's best hour of television, and joined in studio by Paul Maoate and Stephen Hunt this week. Good morning, Paul.
Morning, Fab.
How's your week been? Okay?
Oh, it's been pretty busy. Yeah. It was a big weekend last weekend in terms of racing and sport. Sacred Satona. Defined the market.
100% defied the market.
He was a big drift. But showed everyone he's good to go.
Yeah, he's good to go. Maybe a little trip to Brisbane potentially for Sacred Satona. But good morning, Stephen. How are you?
Morning, Thaddeus. Yeah, very well. Can't complain.
What do we need to touch on from last weekend? Obviously, front of mind is the dramas at Ellerslie, I suppose. Yeah,
look, it's been well documented during the week around the slip, the abandonment. We've still two or three races to go from memory at Ellerslie on Saturday. So, look, they've had problems with the track since opening at the start of the season or start of the year. But take the negativity aside, gee, there were some positive signs. You're running 109 with the rainfall that hit HQ during the week and in particular on race day / morning. To be running 109 for 1,200 metres for open class horses, let's not beat around the bush, but that's great signs going forward. Look, they've abandoned or they've decided not to run their meeting in May, which I don't think there was any positives having their meeting in May. You might as well just have a clean slate, get the track repaired when the weather is still okay, and look forward to the new season. I'm not sure when the next meeting is in the new season. The calendar's just come out this week. But look, there was enough positives away from the negatives, which have been well spoken about during the week. Riccarton, very tough for punters. Gee, it was a tough day for Riccarton, knowing the fact that a lot of horses were backing up from day one. You could have worked the form around there, knowing it was at Riccarton, similar track conditions, etc. So we'll talk about that later in the show. But overall, it was a bit of an up and down day, or up and down week when it comes to the thoroughbred code.
Yeah, sure was. We all want the same thing though, and that's a functioning Ellerslie. So good luck to the team up there. Look, we're going to head north now. A sombre Hamilton studio as we say good morning to keeping the faith personified in one Brendan Popplewell. Morning, BP. How have you pulled up?
Yeah, hey, look, it was we're in the entertainment business. It was an entertaining game, that is for sure. Last night, out of Go Media Mount Smart Stadium, but not the 2 points they were looking for, unfortunately. And of course, there's a few issues to be cleared up there, isn't there? You're talking about the Ellerslie track, but also the Warriors just trying to get over that white line a couple more times to finish the job there against the Titans. But look, we've been supporting them for 29 years, not getting off anytime soon. And they're $1.77 to make the top 8 now, the New Zealand Warriors. And I'll be taking a little bit of that this weekend. So be pretty keen to get around that $1.77 around the Warriors so they can get things back on track. Of course they can. They've got the right roster to do so and a couple of players coming back. But yeah, nice to be back, team, and looking forward to the racing in front of us, of course, with that Manco Easter coming up at Te Rapa and the good field surrounding it, which is always a good day for the Cambridge Jockey Club at Te Rapa.
$1.77 jam, is it, Paul, on the Warriors to make the 8?
I hope it's not his Fourplay bet because we'd have to wait a while for it to... Well, actually, the way we're going, we wouldn't have to wait a while, to be fair.
Might be decided quickly.
It'd be all gone before that. But, yeah, look, Webby has got this... Look, they've shown glimpses of a very, very good team. They've got their injury problems, of course. But I think once they start getting a few more big bodies back on the bench, that'll give them the sort of the impetus or the go forward throughout the whole game, because once you get AFB coming off and Mitch Barnett coming off, they just seem to lack a wee bit of power up front. So,
when's Metcalf back?
Well, that's a big question. That was a nasty break, and he's another one that he straightens up that attack and gives the defence another sort of problem to assess. At the moment, they can just focus on SJ. And they're a wee bit predictable at the moment.
So you're saying there's still a chance?
Oh, don't worry. I love the way that BP's thinking, and I think they're a wee bit of value as well, because once they do get some big bodies back on board, look out. They'll be good.
I'm sure BP's nodding in agreement. BP will come back to you for Maiden of the Week time. What have you found for us?
Yeah, good chat. I saw Luke Metcalf actually at the game walking around, so he's crutch-free. He's got no cast on the leg or anything like that. So, of course, it was only a fracture, so potentially we might be able to see him back hopefully at some stage and just get that left edge going. I think that's a key with Metcalf. Right, let's talk some horse racing, and I'm going for a Maiden of the Week that won a rating 65, Espartus. Look, let's be honest, those that were pretty close to watching jump outs and close to the camp are pretty keen that this horse was going to be winning fairly shortly. Was beaten first up to the races, and of course that was in the Villa Belmiro race where Villa Belmiro ran second, and he finished into third position. You just had to wait for the right race. I just guess you weren't waiting for a rating 65 for it coming off the bench and having to sit 4 wide the trip. That's a very good win from our maiden of the week. Esparta sees a horse well worth following.
Certainly looked like it. That was impressive. You don't see them win 65s too often, Steve.
Yeah, the flashing light went on Saturday morning when they decided to scratch the horse from a maiden race at Matamata on the Friday and come up against 65 class gallopers. Well back commodity, I think he was roughly around that 550 at the top of the day, got backed in under $5. Mille Perez, look, I know he's only won 1 from 23, but he was doing all his best work along the rail there, and he's got a bit of upside towards him in a similar grade. I'm not saying he'll go through the grades. He looks to be a 65 grade horse, but in the coming weeks he can handle on off track as well. So probably one to watch an eye on second up in the next 2 to 3 weeks. But Espartas, yeah, very progressive horse for an ace high to doing that over 6 furlongs is very positive.
Yeah, okay, we'll be following that one with interest. Espartas, Maiden of the week. Okay, team, we've got 2 big domestic meetings, obviously highlighted by Te Rapa with the Travis Stakes. But before we get to that market, Steve, run us through track conditions and weather for tomorrow afternoon in Hamilton.
Well, the last meeting was a couple of weeks ago. That was the return of Te Rapa after its 6-8 week layoff. And that was on the 14th of April. The rail was out 9.5 metres that day, Thaddeus. It goes back in the true position. It was a genuine soft a couple Sundays ago. It's a soft 7 currently, and there's showers forecasted today on race day Friday if you're watching the show live. Race day seems to be okay, but look, I'd be fairly confident that there'll be a unlike upgrade, and we'll be playing in that genuine soft track, which is presented on Friday the day before. But the odd showers forecasted today, which will stop that upgrade possibly on race day.
Okay, let's get to race number 7 on the card. It is Travis Stakes Day, and this is the Travis Stakes Group 2 over the 2,000 metres weight for age for the fillies and mares, Steve.
Yeah, look, a very static market. To be honest, it's been a low turnover race thus far, and that's probably identifying the market as a fairly solid market between now and race day. Apostrophe's gone up deep into the red, $1.75. Valdezolda at $5.50. Just lukewarm on the 6, Valdezolda at $5.50. St. Alice, second best back run at 7 off a peak of 7.5. Contributor $8. Double figures around This Is Dramatic at $11. Nancy She Wrote stepping up from 75 class at a $16 quote. Royal Flower $18, and best of the rest is at $41. Madame Lefay, etc. So no strong lead. The only firmer being round number 3 in St. Alice.
Okay, pretty strong favourite here. BP and Apostrophe at $1.75, and here she is taking out the Manawatu breeders with a few in behind.
Yeah, and look, a very good chance of just backing up what she's done here. I mean, it's a similar type race, just with it being a shorter distance of 2,000 metres, where this was 2,100 metres. And Mussa was able to just be nice and kind with her, and didn't she really show her turn of foot, which we'd seen from her throughout the season. There was a little concern about race shape heading into this race, but at the end of the day, she was just the better runner in the race. She really was. And a similar setup, as I said here, coming into Saturday's race. A couple of key race rivals she's beaten them well. So that's why she's $1.75. Yeah, she comes in with the highest rating along with This Is Dramatic of 95. You've got a couple of horses at the bottom of the page that, you know, are on the same same weights and really are going to be up against it on the 57. So there's a lot of pointers to her getting the right run, appreciating conditions where it will be in that soft bracket, and awfully hard to beat.
Can anything turn the tables there, Steve? On Apostrophe out of that race? This Is Dramatic.
Valdezolda was unlucky. Don't think it would have beaten Apostrophe, but definitely Valdezolda could have been in the conversation to finish in the top 2 or 3. I think if the only way they're going to beat her is sedate tempo to the 600 and a sprint home, look for those horses that are going to be on speed, the likes of St. Alice, possibly Valdezolda. But you look at the performance ratings, she's got the 3 top performance ratings in this field, and it's all recent. Last start was a PB for Apostrophe. She had a 95 performance rating on my numbers, and the Manawatu breeders. Next best was 94.3 when she ran second in the Cuddle. And 3 starts ago, 93.5 at Trentham over the mile in 2023. So, look, you go back next best, it's This Is Dramatic at 93.1 when she won the Japan Trophy. So she'll have to regress and regress significantly, and maybe a bit of a race shape against her for her to get beat on Saturday.
Okay, here's a horse that comes through a different grade, Paul and Contribute. Third last time out at Otaki behind Lightning Jack, but the winner's three starts ago as well. She's been having a good campaign.
She certainly has, and this was a slowly run race, which I don't think really suited her, and she was just slightly put off at around the 200 metre mark here. But I like the way that she was able to pick herself up, and she found a little bit extra over that last 100 metres. I don't think the track will affect her too much at Te Rapa on Saturday, so I think a lot of positives there, and she's out of the Patterson barn, so need we say more? Yeah, she's definitely a chance.
Okay, Contribute there running third. Next replay, Steve is St. Alice. I thought a little bit of value around St. Alice. I know this was a fourth in a small field at Ellerslie, but she's a sort of mare that can level up here, I thought.
So prior to this, which is important, Thaddeus, is that she won over 2,000 metres at Matamata in the Kaimai Stakes. She freshened up back to 1,600 metres. I think that was preparation towards a possible Te Araha Breeders. Look, they've gone out extremely slow, as you can see there graphically, over 17 lengths below open class to the 600. It really did set up for the first 2 or 3 in running. She was doing all her best work late. They've run 33 and change, which was clearly the fastest on that race day at Ellerslie. Mathematically, she had no to little chance, St. Alice. I think Warren will have options from the draw. I think they'll show a little bit of intent, which they've shown in the past around this mare, St. Alice. I can see her being in the first 2 or 3 in running. When I'm looking at the map, Madame Lefay have got leading. Valdezoldo has drawn the outside gate, and maybe BP can show some context around his opinion around Valdezoldo, whether what they do from that draw. But I've got her going forward as well, and then St. Alice can just drop in and sit, maybe trail, outside lead, depending on what Valdezoldo does. But look, she's one of these 2 horses that, if the race shape suits, she could be one to catch and challenge Apostrophe at odds. And as I say, she's been backed in early doors, 750 and a 7.
Okay, what about this Matt BP? Have you got St. Alice around the mark here, or the Valdezoldos? Can anything challenge Apostrophe in behind?
Yeah, I think Valdezoldo's a horse where we see her at her best in that front half of the field, and ideally if she can be second or third. So there might be that opportunity for her to try and get outside leader. Yeah, she's drawn 10 of 10 over 2,000 metres before getting to that first bend, but she is a horse who does race well in that forward position. So, and if the race shape is not quite there and there doesn't seem to be that right sort of speed, well, there's no point going back on her, is there really? You'd imagine her best spot is to try and work forward and get outside leader. Woodamu's riding well. So, if she does get that spot, she is a decent player, because look, things didn't quite go her way. She was close up in the Manawatu Breeders behind Apostrophe last time out when finishing 4th, and she's been running well since then. Also, Nancy She Wrote's an interesting horse coming into this race, isn't she? Because she's one of those horses that's at a rating of 69, that is a chance. It can run in the top 3, top 4. She has been racing good, honest races. She wasn't a horse that had a lot of luck on this occasion. You can see her piercing between runners at the back of the field, finishing into that 4th position. She does go up in distance for Saturday's race, goes from the 1,600 metres. Now, she's only gone up once in the past, and that was as a 3-odd filly where she only beat one home behind Prowess in David and Karen Ellis Fillies Classic. But she just might be one of those horses with McNabb aboard. It could be a slight top 3, top 4 chance. I find in these races it's very hard to get away from the top of the race book, because they are the horses with the highest rating, and they're on the same weight. So those are the horses at the bottom of the book here who are with a lower rating. So, yeah, Apostrophe, she does pick herself because she's in the right sort of form. She beat a lot of these runners in the Manawatu Breeders. St. Alice and I think Valdezoldo are going to be your big dangers in the race if there is to be any to the favourite.
Okay, Nancy She Wrote, Paul, I think it might have been your Fourplay bet. Finished 4th too, Nancy She Wrote, and unlucky. You have time for Nancy She Wrote in this field?
I do. Look, Apostrophe is going to be very hard to beat underweight for age conditions, and we see her at $1.75 already. But at the price, I really, really do like Nancy She Wrote. She's drawn one outside Apostrophe, so McNabb should be able to sort of possibly track Apostrophe into the race. Look, she didn't have a lot go her way in that race, that last start back at Trentham. And she couldn't quite find racing room at the right time in the straight, but she did finish off very, very nicely. I love the way that she did finish through the line as well. And at the price at the moment, she's around $16 as we go live on Friday morning. I think she's a massive each way go. I think she can
So that's your bet in the race, Nancy She Wrote?
Are we getting to that already?
Well, I think it's time to sort of put our cards on the table here.
Look, yeah, Apostrophe is going to be very, very hard to beat, but I can't take the $1.75. I don't have enough money
I reckon Steve's been a bit stingy there, to be fair.
Well, the market will let us know on Saturday, but yes, I think Nancy She Wrote at around $16 is worth a little each way go mine.
Okay, well, you can't be tipping us anything bar Apostrophe in the race, Steve, of what we've heard.
Look, she's going to be hard to beat. Again, she'd have to regress significantly. As I say, she's got the 3 best performance ratings on my scale in this race. And it's all recent. Her last 2 starts have been her second and first best PBs. So on just Nancy She Wrote, again, she'll have to, like the rest of the field, rely on Apostrophe to regress. But even then, she still needs to find 2 lengths on that second wave of horses. The Saint Alice contributes, etc. So, and does she have the turn of foot? Can she come from behind and finish over the top of Apostrophe? I doubt it. And that's why you're probably getting mid to high teens around her. So I can't see her firming anytime soon, Nancy She Wrote. And we'll be playing the patient game around Apostrophe. A good sign when you've got a horse deep into the red, Thaddeus, as you know, with the time trading, etc. During the week, if they're not punting anything against her, don't panic. That opening line around the favourite can be quite often spot on.
Yeah, it tends to suggest that the price isn't far off the mark, does it? Okay, Steve with Apostrophe, Brendan with Apostrophe with a little bit of St. Alice and Valdezaldo, and Paul, as always, going for a little bit of value around Nancy She Wrote in this year's Travis Stakes.
Hey, I got a lot of faith in you. I'll stick with you, kid, that's the bottom line.
Lance O'Sullivan Award, BP. You weren't here last week. We still managed to give it away. I think it was it Maddie Cameron last week that took out the Lance O'Sullivan Award. Who is going to get the prestigious award this week?
Well, we're going to go with a horse that, well, it was good to many, and of course Paul found it for the Fourplay. It was almost up there with the best backed horse of the weekend, Contemplation Bay. This is a horse that Ulrika gave a beautiful steer, 11s into favouritism, and was just able to work away at the right time and give the horse every opportunity. And of course, this was her last weekend of riding in NZ, so what a way to pack your bag and get back home to Sweden with a nice little Lance O'Sullivan Award in the suitcase as well, and look back at the memories of what it's been like over the last couple of months here in NZ, and suggesting that Ulrika, she'll be back over that summer period as well, looking for more gongs and also looking for more winners over that summer period. So well done to Ulrika Holmquist, Completion Bay, Lance O'Sullivan Award winner.
Yeah, what an effort. And how stoked will she be heading back to her home country, Paul, with a Lance O'Sullivan Award?
Oh, it'll be huge.
A massive honour.
There'll be a big crowd waiting for her at the airport, I would suggest.
Signs.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to let us know how you found that Contemplation Bay at $11 on Friday morning at any point, or we?
You got to do the homework, Thad, as you know.
Yeah. Has it been a strength of yours, homework, in the past, I would have to say? No? Okay, well, maybe we'll find out at another time how Paul found Contemplation Bay for his Fourplay. It's a shame, Steve and I couldn't support you in your efforts.
Well, it's very, very hard to soar like an eagle.
Very good. Righto, guys. Race number 8 on the card is the moved Manco Easter Handicap, Group 3 over the 1,600 metres, Steve. And a very similar field, I think, with one or two additions here.
There's a couple of additions. We'll talk about those in the next 5 to 10 minutes. But just on the market, Thaddeus, looks Snazzy Tavi, 480, just out of turn of $5, still heads the market in front of Rudyard at $6. Chattahoochee, well played, 650 into 6. That's including a $2,000 bet at 6.5. Devastate, gone the other way, 6 out to 650. Provence, 750, again attracting a lot of early money as it did 7 days ago. Tabatak, 850 into $8. St. Bathans, drawn a decent gate this time in at $12. White Noise at 18, with Channel Surfer, Ling Zhongzong Feng, and one of the 2 newbies, Just Ask Me, at $31 off the original quote of 26. So well, there's a couple of leads, one of them being around Chattahoochee and also Provence.
Okay, BP, look, a handicap, very even. Let's start with the flying handicap here with Provence, who's out there at 750. Tavatak, who finds a slightly different race than it was going to find last week. Talk us through this race.
Yeah, well, Provence was a horse who was, working home well in this race, as you said, over the distance of 1,400 metres, and that's the horse out wide here in the yellow cap. Bradman, of course, out of this race, has been placed again since then. When was it? The following week, wasn't it? And behind I'm Wonderful Tonight out of Otaki, and then you've got a horse like Tavatak, who was midfield in that race, and look, as a horse who will be better, sort of eyeing up a race like this. It's nicely the weights and the conditions you'd imagine will be to his liking also, with where that track sits at around that soft bracket, and maybe if there's any more rain to fall, it's going to be beneficial to his chances as well, you'd imagine. So, Tavatak's, he's an improver. But Provence is that horse who's on the way up, and that was a very good run last time to the races. It's an even field. I still think those horses that looked to be decent chances last week still ready to get their opportunity here, even though it's a week later and a slightly different track.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, look, you love a money train, Paul, I know that. And there's a decent money train around this next video we're going to have a look at, and Chattahoochee just loves winning. It doesn't run too many bad races as Chattahoochee, and took this out. Electric Time back there, finishing 6th.
Yeah, get on the Chattahoochee train. Look, he did need the entire length of the Pukekohe Straight to get past a very smart type and hat-trick here. Dropped 7 kilos from that run. I think it was a very, very nice ride by Ngako Haley at Puki. Gets Matthew Cameron this time. Look, I'm guessing they'll more than likely go forward. And if they let him dictate terms, it'll be very, very hard to peg back, I think. So, yeah, I can understand why the money's on Chattahoochee. I'm very, very keen to join the train.
You love joining a train. And look, there's plenty of money around Chattahoochee to say it'll measure up, going for 3 in a row. Steve Snazzy Tavi was 3rd in a South Waikato Cup, stepping back in distance. And the other half of this question I want to ask you is, has this market changed any bit from last week? I see Snazzy Tavi's gone up favourite here. What's changed and why has it changed?
Well, just firstly on this run, look, she was a beaten favourite here. She can be a low percentage play, Thaddeus, just with that light tactical speed. She gets back in the last third, relies on tempo, etc. I think the positive around Snazzy Tavi is that her PB sits at 1,600 metres. She's regressed slightly when she stepped up over a mile and a quarter, etc. So dropping back to 1,600 metres, sometimes you can be caught out. Oh, you need extra ground for being a back marker, etc. But I think, look, over 1,600 metres, the race will run faster, often, compared to the mile and a quarter, which will suit her. But her PB, as I say, is at 1,600 metres, which is again the distance on Saturday, and that was when she ran in behind a good field over in the Wairapa Breeders. Town Cry, Apostrophe and Sumi have all come out of that race, and the form's been frank. So, look, she's not in my top 2 or 3, but she definitely has the class to win, as I say, over 1,600.
Okay, well, what about this market? I mean, I think Provence was favourite this time last week, now out at 750 and 5th favourite. What's made these changes, and do you obviously factor in what you saw from last week and the betting prior? Is it different track conditions? Where's the movement been, I guess I'm asking?
I think there's a few factors, a bit of intel from the market and what we gained last week. But I think the biggest difference has been around the weights that have been allocated for the horses this time in versus last Saturday. With the presence of Just Ask Me, you look at some key rivals. Tavatak, White Noise, Rudyard, all dropped 4 kgs to the allocated weight that was given to them 7 days ago when the race was run at Ellerslie. St. Bathans drops 2.5 kilograms, Chattahoochee only 1.5, and Devastate 0.5 kilogram. So those horses with the higher ratings have dropped significantly in weight with the presence of Just Ask Me.
Okay. White Noise, you're a bit of a White Noise man, aren't you?
Well, the defending champion, and I guess if you looked at that run last time at Trentham, you may not be over-enthused about the chances of White Noise. Yeah, but I do. Look, he needed that run, obviously. I think he's another one at a price that you can factor in somehow. Michael McNabb jumps on board. It's a widest draw, but I'm sure that McNabb will be able to get him across somewhere handy. And it would not surprise me to see White Noise booming home at the end. So, look, this is a wonderful betting market where your favourites are around $5.
Your sort of price $18 to be fair. White Noise.
Yeah.
BP last replay I want to have a look at is Rudyard at Pukekohe. I think winning. Devastate and St Bathans are both well supported last week, or particularly Devastate. This is a nice race to have a look at.
Yeah, it is, and of course Rudyard, he was going to draw badly last week, wasn't he? And he hasn't fared that great in the barrier draws, where some horses have got quite similar barrier draws to where they were going to be last week. So he's still got himself out there in barrier number 12, but he's in a great space at the moment, and he's just been very good this summer. Now this, of course, is a promoted victory over Uderzo. Where he does get it in the room, but look, this is going through all his runs this campaign. He's been there or thereabouts, and he can snare the big prize tomorrow. I definitely have him in my numbers just with how well he's going. He operates well with a track change to Te Rapa. He's won once from 5. He's had a couple of good placings at the venue. He just needs to be able to find his right spot and try and roll into the race at the right time and finish strongly over the top. If all those things can happen, and Sam gets that right spot with him, for sure, he's a decent chance in the race, and as are some of those horses that were in behind him in that race. Horses like Devastate, St Bathans, Devastate drawn 1, St Bathans drawn barrier number 2. You know with both of those horses they're going to appreciate track conditions with where they sit. Both those runners will be liking the track conditions. So I see them. I see 4, 5, 6, and 7. We've been Rudyard, St Bathans, Chattahoochee, Devastate, right in amongst it, and Chattahoochee's the one that is sort of getting me at the moment, just with how he's been racing at present. He's got a low draw. There's a lot to like about him. So yeah, as Paulie said, good betting race, great race to try and find something on the each way.
Yeah, we'll come back to you for just a final selection in a second, BP. I just want to have a quick chat about Channel Surfer, Steve, because there's money again for Channel Surfer. It was $26 last week. It's opened up 18, and they're stepping in again around Channel Surfer.
Yeah, likes Te Rapa. I think I can remember this horse earlier this season performing really well at Te Rapa and winning. So back at a track where he likes to excel at. Look, again, he's not well off in the weights and the conditions of the race with his rating, but he's a progressive type. I don't think he's quite found his ceiling. Again, he's going to be in that back third, round Snazzy Tavi, etc. So he'll rely on tempo. But look, a horse that often can be well traded or well played during the week, Thaddeus, so yeah, we're not panicking at this stage. Okay, final thoughts from you. Who are you having a bet on, or who have you got on top in this year's Manco Easter, Steve? Yeah, I was pretty keen on Devastate 7 days ago. I'll stick with the ship here. Drawn barrier 1. Again, he comes off fractionally worse off in the weights with the presence of Just Ask Me. And Provence, just with that insurance, if they go out fairly hard, there's 3 or 4 that want to go 40 and show intent early doors. So Provence, I think, yeah, Provence, if she can find a little bit of cover midfield, might be the one horse flashing at them late. Paulie, final, who's on top? Who you backing this year's Easter?
I'm going Chattahoochee. I'm jumping on the train, hopefully to make it 3 in a row, with White Noise in there. Yeah. BP, sounded like you might have been a bit of a Chattahoochee man as well. Yeah, I quite like Chattahoochee also, and St Bathans. I think St Bathans just sits in that price where I'm happy to still be on him. I've been on a couple of times this preparation, and he's been around that sort of $6 or $7 price. We're looking at an $11 quote for him with a good draw, track conditions to be suitable. So yeah, a little split bet there with St Bathans and Chattahoochee each way. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. Crunching the numbers time for another week on the League Up. We love it when you have a little crunching the numbers for us, Steve. What have you found for us this week? I just want to go over the last 2 meetings at Riccarton on the 13th and also on the 20th of April. A lot of horses ran on both days. In fact, a total of 46 horses ran on both days at Riccarton on the 13th and the 20th. Out of those 46 runners, Thaddeus, 13 finished in the top 3 on day 1. Out of those 13 place getters from day 1, only 1 horse finished in the top 3 on day 2. Dazzling Miss finished 3rd on both days. Now, just in terms of investment, if you're backing all 46 runners on day 2 with equal stakes, a minus 6% profit on turnover. Now, understanding Green Luck won at a big odds, so I think roughly around about 24, 25 to 1. So if you filter that horse out, say if you had a bet to win $100 on each of the 46 runners, you would have lost at 36%. Tough day for punters, assessing the field from day 1 into day 2. A lot of those horses that performed well on day 1 finished in the top 3. Obviously, a few of those winners were stepping up in grade, etc., which you've got to take into fact. But
I'd like to say character building after day 2.
Very tough, because usually, you know, you're potentially looking for those horses on the 7-day backup. You think everything's well, they're in the zone. They're maybe prepping for the second day potentially, and it obviously didn't happen this time.
Yeah, look, there were some genuine excuses. The Hottie bled when a well-backed commodity favourite in race 6 and their feature sprint. So there's a few excuses.
In early there.
100%.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. We'll get to that. Sorry, Steve.
Yeah, just a tough day for punters, and we saw that unfolding in the office here when we were looking at the traders and the operation, the risk manager, etc. So, look, it's one of those parts of the year where you almost just got to take it to one side, reassess, and go again. Riccarton have 4 or 5 meetings, as I spoke about last Saturday or last Friday, that they had 4 or 5 meetings in the space of 6 or 7 weeks. So
they were strong meetings too as well. Maybe that's had a factor in it. Like, they were really competitive fields.
Northern influence as well. There's been plenty of CD raiders, a couple from the top end of the North Island in terms of trainers going down looking for black type around fillies, etc. So yeah, look, as I say, character building when it came to day 2 after day 1 at
Put the
Riccarton.
queue in the rack around Riccarton from last Saturday. Let's look forward, team. Race number 5 on the card. Te Rapa is the English Sales. Cambridge Breeders' Stakes, Group 3 over the 1,200 metres, Stephen. A competitive betting market here.
I found one here. I'll come to it shortly. The favourite, December, open at 420, remains at quote 30th, but the best back runner, no surprise, out of the Alan Sharrock team, in Cindy, 5 into $4.15, accounts of roughly 70% of the hold in the first 36 hours of trading. Impenda Belt, 5.50 in that third line. Irish Legacy, $8 from a shortener of 7.5. Mary Shan, 7.50 out of 4.8.5. Double figures around I Am Unstoppable at 12. Bedtime Story, well identified in the middle market, 18 to 16, currently a losing liability. And then best of the rest is Geriatrics at 14. From Wednesday out to $18. So look, overall summary, outside Bedtime Story is the firm in the middle market. It's all about number 7 in Cindy.
Okay, well, before we get to Cindy BP, I want to have a look at the favourite winning last start at Taupō, December. It was impressive this day.
Yeah, he's a really nice horse, isn't he, this runner? He's a horse that was getting back and really booming home. His prior run was behind Crescetti. He just tackled some really good company, so there's a lot to like about him. He's all arms and legs, isn't he, December? And puts away Wits End. Now, of course, we've seen Wits End, of course, go to Australia. That was unsettled by that, what was it, very testing track on the first day of the championships, but did go around as a favourite in that race. So it comes back to the 1,200 metres, still a learning type, but a horse that has got a fair bit in front of him. He's won 3 from 5 and another decent test for him coming up on the weekend in a very good field. Gee, this is a field of up-and-comers. We see this each and every year with this Cambridge Breeders' race for the 3-year-olds. Over 1,200 metres, great race to be able to get a line on some horses that maybe are good enough to thinking of going to Brisbane, and horses that haven't been able to push on towards those staying races and can't go beyond 1,600 metres. Some horses freshen up and come back to the 1,200. So it's a super race each and every year. And once again, I think we've got ourselves a cracking field.
No doubt about that. Gee, if December's found any sort of improvement in terms of its manners and its galloping action, it will be hard to beat, as BP alluded to. All arms and legs and still getting it done on the eye. The second race replay, Steve, is Cindy, winning last start at Te Rapa, but a few of the combatants raced in this one.
Yeah, impressive this day, and a well-backed commodity, 30th Cindy. Look, early in running, got back to the last third, but found that 3-wide running line, and Craig Easter out at the top of the straight, which you see here, and the filly let down in good fashion. What I will say, she wasn't the best part of the track that day. They were coming down the middle centre part of the home straight. It definitely played IG in the first 3 or 4 metres off the rail. But taking nothing away with it, this was quite dominant. Numbers back it up as well, above the class rating fractionally. The stable obviously hold this horse in high regard. The fact that she's always been well tried as soon as she made her debut. She's had, 4 or 5 starts now, and it's always been a losing liability. And I think they were pretty disappointed when she got beaten at Trentham 2 starts back. But you look at the form after the race and what's happened since. Lincoln, Billy Lincoln? Is it Billy Lincoln, the winner? Has been a sub-winner up north since. So you just got to take a bit of time, reflect the overall race, and it probably wasn't as disappointing as first on the eye, Cindy, when she got beaten at Trentham. So, look, out of the beaten brigade, I'm Unstoppable, was okay, was on speed, 3-4 wide facing the breeze, boxed on well for second. Our Absolute stuck in the worst part of the track in the IG, inferior ground. But, notably comes off the bench as well, scratching, so that does make the field our absolute if you're pretty keen on its chances. But look, Cindy has to be in the top 2 at this stage in terms of a conversation and winning chances.
Okay, there's a few chances, Paul, that I thought came out of the Wellington Guineas. And look, Bedtime Story, that one that we touched on, a bit of a mover in the middle market. And look, Irish Legacy went around a $3.40 favourite in this race. You'd be quite pleased to see $8 around that, I would have thought.
Yes, well, before we get to that, surprise, early money for an El Chirac runner in Cindy. And so, yeah, I'll just leave that to the side. As you say, Bedtime Story, look, after doing a lot of work early, just came to the end of her run with around 150 to go. I think she'll be happy to get back to the 1,200 metres, so that suits. And, of course, with the money on, that also attracts a little bit of interest there as well. Geriatrics and Irish Legacy, they got way back in the Guineas, and they did come home very, very well. Look, they weren't going to catch Grail Seeker, but I thought they both gave a couple of very, very good finishing runs, and I think Geriatrics recorded the fastest last 200 sectional in the Guineas. So a lot to take out of that.
So they've drawn wide this time in.
A word on Irish Legacy from you, Steve, please.
Well, she's got the ability. There's no doubt she's a horse that's going to go through the grades rapidly. I think her best season will be next season. I think it's just on raw ability. She's not there in terms of a type and physically, Irish Legacy, but she can still win this race. But again, she's going to rely on so many variables. Te Rapa back and trip. It was 1,400. The Wellington Guineas Breeders is back to 1,200 metres. They're both drawn outside gates, Tricks and Irish Legacy. They're going to probably map in the last 2 or 3. Right. And they're going to rely on tempo, track to play fair. We know the rail's going back into the true position. There's going to be 4 races to unfold prior to the Breeders on Saturday, but yeah, I don't know. I think they'll drift both of them just purely on the map.
Okay, BP, the next race replay we're going to have a look at, Villabel Miro. Look, won this race at $1.20 and had been threatening to do it for quite some time, but good to see Villabel Miro get the job done here.
Yeah, he did win it well, didn't he? And I guess you have to suggest what is he beating compared to what he's tackling on the weekend. He got the job done, and he'll take a lot of confidence. And I think the way that they rode the horse on this occasion, he got left in front the start prior, didn't he? And he looked like he had it all sewn up, and then he gets bombed in the concluding stages. So it's the right sort of race for where he's heading, and he's going to go around at sort of 20 odd plus. He's a runner that'll go forward. And he's one of those horses, like a couple of runners here, if there is a lot of speed injected into the race, will help an Irish Legacy. I think Steve is right. Irish Legacy is one of those horses that needs so many things to go its way, and it's drawn awkwardly. It's going to get back, and it's going to have to do what Mum used to do, Shillelagh. She used to always sort of wait for luck and boom home, and that's how it might have to happen here. I remember the day Shillelagh won at Flemington, wasn't it, with the Magic Man, Joe Moreira, aboard. Got all the luck, and even J-Mac, when he was aboard it a couple of times, she always used to just be flooding home late in her races, and that's what might have to happen here, and everything go her way. But she's a nice horse for the future, Irish Legacy, and actually comes back to that 1,200, which she's never raced at yet. But a horse that will be booming home late and a runner for the future. Look, I actually find this a really difficult race. I do. I think Cindy, from that performance a couple of weeks ago, track conditions are going to be very close to being similar to what we saw at Te Rapa. There's no reason why she can't back it up and go again. In the end, I don't mind the other horse that was in that race too, and I'm Unstoppable, who ran into second position. I don't mind that reference around both of those horses. I think they can be competitive again, and even December. So they're the 3 I'm floating, but I find it hard to sort of really nail the race down.
Yeah, it is tricky, there's no doubt. There's a very interesting runner I just want to have a word on with you, Steve, prior to that, and Impenda Bell resuming. In a trial, you would think would be short of its best here, Impenda Bell. Interesting runner, though.
Yeah, in the silk sea, lime green, hot pink spots and cap along the rail. 2 similar horses here, Impenda Bell and Mary Shan, Thaddeus. Both of them have had the decent freshen up, at least 5 to 6 weeks off the scene. They freshened back up to the 12 or back down to the 1,200 metres. They clearly have the best performance rating in this race, albeit it's over 1,600 metres, but it is recent. You don't have to go too far back. Mary Shan 3 starts back when second to Molly Bloom in the 8 carat, hit a PB 96.5. And Penda Bell only 2 starts back when finishing third in the Live-In Classic, rated 94.3. But as I say, they were both over 1,600 metres. Yeah. They're still in the conversation, but in terms of the best performance rating over a sprinting trip, it does sit with December last start over 1,300 metres at Taupo, 90.6. BP, just quickly back to you. Mary Shan, I know Penda Bell's drawn well, so they'll try and use that gate, utilise, position the horse in the first half of the field. But with Mary Shan drawn outside gate, it's shown tactical speed in its last 3 or 4 runs. What do they do here? What does Craig do here? Do they go back knowing that's 1,200 metres, or do they chance the arm?
I don't know. I mean, it depends what's in front of them with Mary Shan. I mean, she has been freshened. Of course, we haven't seen her since the early stages of February. She's a horse who can put herself there. We've seen her overcome wide barrier draws and get outside leader over 1,600 metres. Of course, this is different when it's over 1,200 metres, though, isn't it? But she's naturally best when she's in that position, though, isn't she? We've seen her run her best races when she is in that front half of the field, when she can get outside leader. So do they just push the button? I mean, we saw Craig Grills ride a super race here at Te Rapa over 1,400 metres when winning the Group 1 sprint. Of course, been able to, and it wasn't drawn barrier 15, but it still drew the outside gate where he was able to jump and get outside leader, and it was that positivity out of the barrier that was the winning of the race. So will we see something similar here to be able to try and get Mary Shan in her best winning position? If she's capable of doing that here after a little freshen, and there's, you know, there might be some more races coming up in front of her as she head into Brisbane, I'm not sure, but yeah, her best spot has been in that position, and if Craig can do it, well, he's the right man to do the job.
Okay. You got December or Cindy on top, BP?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't have much between them. No. I'll probably go December. I think December, with the way the horse has just got something about him, but there's not to say that Cindy hasn't got anything about her potential as well. So Cindy maybe just in front, December just in front of Cindy, and a little bit of I'm Unstoppable in the mixture too, because I thought that horse with a slightly better barrier draw was huge in defeat when finishing second a couple of weeks ago at Te Rapa.
December for you, Steve?
Yeah, look, there's a few negatives. You can find 1 or 2 negatives on most of the runners here, but December, even though he's raw, the talent's there, he's drawn a decent gate, and he's primed over the 1,200 metres.
Okay, give us the real winner, Paul, in the breeders.
Look, I like him, Penda Bell.
Yep.
Look, obviously 1,200, probably not the ideal distance for her, and she is fresh up, but I thought we saw enough in that trial to suggest that she's ready to go. And remember, she was running around up against the likes of Molly Bloom.
I wouldn't be shocked if she is a sprinter. They've tried over 1,600 metres because it's where the black type races led towards in terms of the fillies. But she may be a sprinter long range rather than short term.
You're saying Paul might be onto something?
Amazing.
Right, the boys with December. What? Paul's going to give him Penda Bell a chance fresh up in this year's Cambridge Breeders' Stakes. Hoover's gods for another week. Were they smiling? Well, we saw Steve has got to allude to the fact that it was a tough old day at Riccarton. Punters got underway with a bit of a hiss and a roar, was sailing away for the Te Akea team 5 into 380, but yeah, it didn't go too well from there. Warm Breeze 14 into $5, second. They just missed there. On song for Robert Dennis 15 into 650, good winner on the first day. Couldn't back it up on the second day, unfortunately 7th. Contemplation Bay, Paul still waving to the crowd, 11 into 380, Ulrika gets it home first. The Hottie, well, we heard about the problems with the Hottie. I hope all's well there and we see the Hottie back on track soon. Finished 14th, obviously, with the bleeding attack. Quinta Bell ran a good race up the rail, 10s into 484th. He's a doozy. Look, they ran very, very slowly in that Canterbury Gold Cup. He's a doozy, just pulled his block off, and I'm trying to make excuses for my Fourplay bet from last week. Up to Ellerslie Love Poem. Backed as if unbeatable, $2.60 into $1.65 finished second, but BP's Maiden of the week got us home in the market movers. Espartus, $5 into $3.50 for first. So mark some of those down, some of those South Island runners. they're worth following when the money is on. Okay, team, we're going to head to Whanganui for one race on the card, but before we get to race number 2, we want to talk about weather and track conditions. Steve, what do we got?
Yeah, well, I think, look, they've still got the odd showers, just like Hamilton do around the Wanganui area. But I think it's easing in terms of today, the odd shower specking around race day, but nothing serious. The rail back in the true position for what you'd call a feature meeting on a Saturday for Wanganui, and currently a soft 7, so hopefully no worse come race 1.
Yeah, okay, run us through this market. We're going to have a look at race number 2 on the card, Steve. The carpet maintenance and cleaning, 1200 metres. This is a competitive rating 85 sprint.
We Will Rock, just a bit of centre timing, third up, 270 off a peak of 2.8. Bold Bell, $4.50 in that second line. Beep Beep, 6.5. Rocker Baby, 750 just out of turn to $8. Rain It In first up here for Royden Burgesson at $9. Double figures around Lincoln's Cruise at $11. Kick On, Sticky Gate for Lily at $15. G-String at $18, best of the rest. So no strong lead, but punters pretty keen to snap up the 280 in the first 24 hours, and now 270 around the favourite in We Will Rock.
Yeah, we know the quality of We Will Rock and building to a win. BP, as we saw the second last start at, where was it? Last start at Otaki. Fought well, so should be ready to be winning this, you'd think.
Yeah, look, I think he is very close to winning a race. We Will Rock. I don't know, he's been well backed in both of those starts, even his first up assignment behind our Echo, and even there. So, yep, he's going to have to carry 60 kilos. He's got the inside draw. He's had those 2 runs under the belt. Track conditions are going to be ideal for him. Yeah, he's going to be a hard horse to beat. I will say Bold Bell will be an improver. It's a horse who's been able to win in that second up bracket before as well. She's just one of those horses that really does bounce out of a run strongly. What was she, less than 4 lengths away from the winner when finishing into 4th position over the 1200 metres. I would imagine she will be a sharp improver and looks the biggest danger, I would have thought, to We Will Rock.
You've got a bit of time for Bold Bell, Steve, haven't you?
Yeah, big improver. Look, I liked it when it was accepted for Trentham. I think the week prior to Otaki, they decided to step it up in grade and wait 7 days against open class horses. She is the big improver, Bold Bell. Just the setup wasn't quite ideal at Otaki. Back into the day, it was definitely cutting up on that worst side of heavy, and for a horse that presented first up, just wasn't their right ingredients, so she'll benefit for that. And a bit of centre timing for it. There's a few in this race second up.
Yeah, okay. I want to go to the Cuddle Stakes, Paul, next, because we've talked about this Cuddle form, and Rocket Baby competed, so up against the very best fillies and mares there, and has had a good campaign, a winner 3 starts ago, but this is her 7th in a Cuddle.
Yeah, and it appears that she just found the 1600 metres just a little too much this time. Back to 6 furlongs will be ideal for her. She's got the perfect draw. Lisa Allpress aboard. She loves Wanganui. I think there's a lot of positives here for Rocker Baby, so I'm happy to have Rocker Baby in my numbers, certainly.
Okay, what price are we getting currently on Rocker Baby?
$8 as we speak on Friday morning.
Yeah, okay, $8 around Rocker Baby. Last replay I want to have a look at, Steve, is Rain It In. There's some money for Rain It In too. Potentially always is, but this is the trial, finishing 2nd.
You know, the big boy by Sacred Falls always trials up well, Thaddeus. But look, on the eye, no knock here. He presents first up, so he probably doesn't want this track to deteriorate. Being early in the day, you'd think hopefully it remains a soft 7, and that would be for his liking. He's got a really good record first up. He's won in that spot and also placed. You see the shadow roll there, just on his own steam, running into 2nd there. So, look, it was a reasonable day out. I don't think it was taxing that trial, just under his own steam. But from barrier 8 is a touch sticky for a few horses there will want to go forward. So just not sure where he matched. Probably in that more neutral position if he can get a bit of cover in midfield. But look, he's not in my numbers, Rain It In. But I just want to identify that trial visually, but also the warm support we've had in the first 36 hours.
Okay, no, there has been decent support there. Paul, who else do you like in the race? I mean, fine. Well, you give us your numbers. Are you with We Will Rock? I've been with We Will Rock the last 2 starts, and it's been a 0 and a 2nd.
I'm ready to jump on We Will Rock.
as I leap off.
Yes, yeah. I think Jonathan Riddell will be able to control things from the one gate. The track will suit, I'm fairly sure. So yeah, We Will Rock on top with Rocker Baby in the numbers as well.
Yeah, okay. Steve, final thoughts here?
Yeah, I'm really keen on Rocker Baby. Again, comes out of that Cuddle Stakes form.
Yeah, you love that Cuddle Stakes.
I personally believe this horse is a better sprinter. So dropping back from the 16-12, no negative whatsoever. Has an impeccable record at Whanganui, Rocker Baby. Drawn barrier 4, Lisa Allpress does the ridings. A lot of positives around this horse. In fact, the horse that holds the highest performance rating over 1,200 metres in this race sits with Rocker Baby, and she's sitting on the minimum, so I'm pretty keen on a nice each-way play.
You're telling me Paul's onto something? 'Cause it could be,
I think
be 2 times in the show, surely.
he just had a bit of vom in his mouth.
Yeah. BP, final thoughts here and who are you backing in the rating 85 there, race 2 of Wanganui?
Well, I'm looking for a power play in the race. So I want Rocker Baby top 4 and We Will Rock top 4. So produce it, please, team, because that might be the nice play in the race. I think We Will Rock, 60 kilos, drawn barrier number 1. He's going to give you a big sight. Rocker Baby bounced out of the right race, and I think Bold Bell too. Like we mentioned, it's a horse that will be the improver second up. So just try and play around with some right power plays. You might have to take 2-3 different power plays to find your right combination, but I'll be playing around those 3 with some sort of power play and top 2s, top 4s, those sort of things.
Fourplay time on the leg up. Your chance to win a $100 4-leg bonus bet multi. Head to the TAB Facebook page. Interact with the leg up. Question your favourite Travis Stakes winner. We won't mention how we did last week. I know Paul would like us to, but unfortunately we missed. I've got a feeling we're due BP, and you're going to lead us off. What are you going with your Fourplay?
I've gone with a horse that was very unlucky for me as my best bet last time to the races, by the name of Kiwi Man. Top 4 in race number 4 of the day. I think he can go pretty close to winning the race, actually, with Narco aboard once again, getting 3 kilos off. So we'll go with Kiwi Man, top 4.
Paul, you've gone high again. You've got a real confidence in a spring in your step.
Oh yeah, let's try and sort this out. These $1.40, $1.30. Come on. Let's give the punters have something to shout about. So I've gone across the ditch to Morfettville for the Australasian Oaks, and I really didn't want to pick this girl because I cannot say her name.
Pulchritudinous.
Pulchritudinous.
Pulchritudinous. Justin Evans taught us that. Yeah.
Pulchritudinous. Yeah. Look, she did the Oaks there. I see no reason why she won't be right in this at the finish. At Morfettville. We got her at 330. I see she's now into 280 for a top 3, so we're already ahead of the market.
Steve?
Yeah, Tomodachi, a real progressive staying filly out of the O'Sullivan Scott team. Steps up to 1,600 metres. Drawn barrier 2 could be quite sticky for a horse that has low tactical speed, but I think she's just got this field covered. So I'm just taking a little bit of insurance there, top 3 at $1.30.
Yeah, okay, and I've gone Trav, top 4, race number 4 at Whanganui for Raymond Connor's team. Good second last time out, good 4th in the Masterton Cup. So I think at a top 4 at $1.70, it is worth including, and I have included it in this week's Fourplay. That $100 multi could return $921. Get to the TAB Facebook and tell us your favourite Travis Stakes winner. Okay, best bet time on the leg up, and I know we're all about accountability here on the leg up, so we are going to show you how we went last week.
I'm going to go to Ellerslie, race 6, and I love the favourite here. Number 2, Investigate, trained by Tony Pike, ridden by Woodamoo Pin.
Moonlight Magic, Solidify, running on late also at the line. It'll be Moonlight Magic from Solidify. The one running on late was first innings to make it interesting for the miners. With it also were the Patron Saint and also Rumour and Kialoho in a lineup. Then came Prometheus, followed by Investigate.
Yeah, I'll go to Rickett in the first of the features there. The Great Easter Stakes, open handicap conditions, over 1,400 metres, the Hottie.
Sassy Merlot wins the Great Easter. Sassy Merlot beats Third Decree, Millefiore, and Adenea ran home for 4th. Then came the Radiant One, Burnview doing his best work late. From the Good Shepherd ears back has to be you, Lord Darcy. Good on you, put it in by Emmett on our Echo, and something not right there with the Hottie. She was beaten a long way out.
Good weekend to have a scratching as your best bet, boys. The only way is up, baby, as they say around the best bets this weekend. BP, we need your best bet. We know we're going to get 3 from 3 this week.
It was a good weekend to have off, that's for sure. So I was watching the coverage last weekend. So yeah, coming with a little freshen up. I've been waiting to say this horse's name as a best bet, Sister Kiani, in race number 2 on Saturday at Te Rapa. I have been waiting all summer for this horse to line up, and we finally get to see it. Wow, this horse has been impressive at the trials. $1.3 million they paid for this horse, and we finally get to see this horse unleashed tomorrow. Looking forward to it. That's all I can say. It's $1.90.
Sister Kiani, you've obviously got the pronunciation correct.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Yeah,
okay. Okay,
Yeah.
good on that. We need you on that one. Sister Kiani for BP. Now, you're taking your best bet seriously, Paul, aren't you? What's your best bet of the weekend?
Yeah, I'm going to Te Rapa race 3. It's over the 1,300 metres, and I'm going with Pennsylvania. Look, the current form would suggest to stay away from her. However, she did have excuses last time. And Billy Pin, as we see there, Billy Pin has had success with her before. So I'm happy to see him back in the saddle. She's got a handy draw. Look, we're getting around $15, $16, okay?
Yes, yeah.
So, look, I'm struggling. I'm struggling at this time of the year.
Here we go.
But I do think that she is worth a go.
Okay.
So, look, if she doesn't run a half-decent race this time round, then I'll put a line through it. But look, okay. I saw enough of her last time, her last prep, to suggest that she's got something special.
Okay, bring some sanity back to proceedings here, Steve, with your best bet.
I'll go early doors at Te Rapa. Tomodachi, again, she was in my foreplay. Yeah, I just think she's a really progressive staying type. Hit 1,600 metres for the very first time, go 2 starts back. She bet a good horse in Swaney Stay. Last start at Matamata, everything went against her. The race shape, track conditions, and she still got the job done and rated through the roof, Tomodachi. So, look, she comes out of that fantastic Pencaro family. You go back a few days and find Ethereal, etc. So, yeah, I'm keeping a really close eye on her, how she performs on Saturday. I see she's coming 215 to 230 for a little bit of a one eye towards a Queensland assault.
Okay, the Queensland Oaks with Tomodachi. Race number 1, Te Rapa for Steve. Bonus back runners this weekend, or bonus back betting this weekend, Paul? What can we look forward to?
Yeah, we've got the first 4 races from Te Rapa, Wanganui, Rosehill and Caulfield. That's back to 2nd, 3rd or 4th. Just a note that the bonus bets that you do receive this Saturday will have an expiry of 10 p.m. on Monday the 29th. So not the usual 7 days, due to some scheduled maintenance that will be running on Monday night. So just a...
No, it's a good heads up. Get in and use them. Here's the bonus back suggested bets. BP's Kiwi Man. Paul's Fashion Icon, race number 3 for Peter Didham at Wanganui. Kiwi Man was unlucky last start. BP sticking with the ship there, race number 4, Te Rapa. Steve's gone for Trav at Wanganui. That's my foreplay bet, Steve, so great minds think alike. There was no collusion there. And I've gone race 3 at Te Rapa. I'm following a little bit of money around I'm Lulu. Had no luck last time out. I got caught wide and still boxed on strongly. It's out there at around $13, $14, I'm Lulu. So I thought that might be a reasonable way to play it in race 3 at Te Rapa tomorrow afternoon. Okay, teams, time to say goodbye for another week. Thanks, BP, for your efforts. Keep the faith, mate, and have a good weekend.
Certainly will. There'd be no chance of expiring bonus bets on my account. Boy, they were in there and they're spent. Boy, don't need to be telling me about expiry dates on bonus bets. So, yeah, looking forward to the weekend ahead and also getting out to Te Rapa on Saturday too. So it should be a good day of racing.
Yeah, no, thanks, BP. We'll look forward to seeing you at Te Rapa on Saturday. Thank you, gentlemen, for your help for another week. Paul?
Yeah, cheers. Don't forget, big game in town this Saturday night. Phoenix taking on the MacArthur.
Yep.
They're top of the table at the moment and a chance to pick up the minor premiership.
Yep. Okay, go to Phoenix. Thanks, Steve, for your efforts. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, busy week. Busy week next week. I think Te Rapa Riccarton.
Right.
Both meetings next Saturday, including the champagne for the juveniles at Royal Riccarton.
Okay, that's all to look forward to, and we'll see you in 7 days' time. Thanks for joining us on The Leg Up.